Guys, we've got a quick one right now before the fights officially start, at least the big ones of note anyway. We are joined right now with, boxing journalist extraordinaire, the incomparable J.R. Bell, and we're going to talk about his evening in New York, taking in all the fight action. And, we're going to ask him what he thinks about all the crucial and pivotal, fights that took place last night. All this and more on a quick edition of War Week Boxing Chats.
Sean Holdings proudly presents War Week Radio Chats with ring announcer Joseph Herron.
Guys, welcome to this very quick edition of War Week Boxing, guys, and we're being joined at this time with the one and only, the boxing source, J.R. Bell. J.R., how art thou, sir?
Yo, what's going on? What's happening?
I tell you what, man, a lot transpired last night. And I tell you what, where do we start? Let's start with the main event of the evening and the title. I'm going to ask you this, my friend. Is Keyshawn Davis the next big U.S. star of boxing?
Looks like they're trying to push him as the next big U.S. star. This is coming from last year where he had 3 fights in 2024, and they featured him in his last fight in Norfolk, Virginia, his home city, there against Gustavo Lemos. And so, talking with Carl Moretti after that particular fight, that was the move that they planned, was to push him, put him in position to fight for a world title. And then after that, we'll see how it goes. So right now, what you saw was part one of the plan with him getting that stoppage victory over Dennis Berinchik for the WBO lightweight title.
Oh, and that he did in emphatic fashion. He just put a resounding notice out to all of the competing fighters at 135 pounds. And now as the new WBO champ, oh boy, it's going to be interesting to see where Top Rank, where they put him next, if they try to unify, if they try to give him a couple title defenses and building his brand or building his, but working with Turki Al-Sheikh now and DAZN coming up. I think the last Top Rank fight is on ESPN is going to be in July?
I'm not all too certain about that. There, have been discussions within the people within Top Rank that they may go back to ESPN, speak with ESPN, and see if they could work another deal to stay on ESPN.
Well, I tell you what, and once again, I love Keyshawn, but I think he needs a couple more fights to build his level of attraction to where that can be a healthy showdown, either with he or in Shakur, or he and Lomachenko maybe, or he and, let's just face it, everyone wants to see him squared up against Tank Davis.
Yeah. So
does that fight happen, brother? Because, it sounds to me like Tank Davis is pretty much checked out already and doesn't want to do work with the Turki Al-Sheikh.
Well, he did say that, but the thing with, like I said, with Keyshawn Davis and the plan that Carl Moretti Styles followed up with that, it says that looks like that's still part of the schedule. They have what will be the interim IBF title fight there with Ray Murataya and Azar Abdullayev, and they're not certain about what's going on with Vasyl Lomachenko at this particular point. So what they'll do with Keyshawn is they'll have him, have a defense of that WBO title. I did, push to have it there back in Norfolk, like you were saying before. So we could get another fight there at the Scope Arena for Keyshawn Davis to defend that WBO lightweight title.
Okay, well, I tell you what, before we move forward, here we go. Let's say hello to our dear friends at the chat. Jesus M. Saludos to you, my friend. And he says that they tried to rob poor Barbosa, who is now the was this for an interim title?
The WBO interim super lightweight title.
That's right. And look, we told look, I didn't even spend 1 minute watching this fight because I already knew it was going to happen. Once again, Arnold Barbosa being, and this had shades of Nonito Donaire versus Guillermo Rigondeaux. Both guys are prolific counterpunchers by trade, but one guy felt the pressure of the home crowd supporting him, and he felt that the onus was on him to force the action. So he played right into the hands of Arnold Barbosa. I knew this was going to happen, guys. The only question was, would the judges give him the verdict? And they sure did. And yes, they tried to rob him, but you can't mess with the truth. And that's one thing I will give judges as of late. They've been getting it right as of late. Wouldn't you say, James?
Yeah, and I kind of hinted at this sometime back in reference to judges and how they view fights and how different it is in comparison to those that are watching on TV or certain angles within the crowd. So, with a number of these decisions recently, they've been getting it right. So, got to give props to them when they do get it right, because we sure get on them when they get it wrong.
Yeah, amen to that, my friend. Hawker Mustang, welcome to the show, sir. And he says, they don't want to fight. They're friends, Joseph. Well, look. Guys, this is some boxing history for you. You gave fights to your friends, and you still give fights to your friends. This is a business, and it's nothing personal. And we're talking about guys who are friends in the gym who get it on in sparring. They try to, and you think they hold back in sparring, Big James?
No, they do not. And like you said, it's business. And what better way to get money than to get money with your quote unquote brother?
That's it. That's it, guys. Once again, this is as old as the sport itself. You want to help your brother out, who maybe has a dead end 8 to 5 job in between fights, maybe isn't making the kind of purses that he deserves. You give him that opportunity. Now, if you're going to lose a title, you want to lose it to someone who you love, to you respect, someone that you've known for decades. Sparring in the gym, sparring in the amateurs, working in the amateurs, competing. Guys, this is competition, not life or death. I mean, it very well could be, because you can't play boxing. But guys, this is friendly competition. This is a gentleman's sport. Don't forget that, guys. Now, once again, fans, they don't treat it like that. Like, have you seen these arguments on X? Well, we won't even get into that. We could devote an entire hour to that, brother. But look, the fighters don't think of the sport that way. Now, all of this false bravado, all of this crap leading up to the fight, and thank goodness it didn't get into the head and spoil the plans of Keyshawn Davis. He took care of business because he's the businessman. But I need to address this, though, and this is one of the reasons why you're here, man, because I love your journalistic mind, and I love your insight, and I want you to take a look at this, my friend. Now, once again, everyone is coming to the conclusion that Teofimo Lopez is a racist and a buffoon, but I'm not convinced that he is at the center of this. I think this is a contrived effort, and it went and failed miserably because no one is interested in woke or cancel culture any longer. And you saw Top Rank actually retract and condemn all of the efforts leading up to the Keyshawn Davis fight publicly. And this is what Teofimo said on, well, those knuckleheads on the Boxing Voice. And I'm going to share this with you. I want to get your thoughts on this. Big James, tell me when you can see it, my friend.
All right. I could run it.
Okay, very good.
you're taking a dangerous approach.
Motherfucking boxing's dangerous, is it not?
Yeah, but it seems like you want to provoke an entire group of people.
Ain't nobody provoking nothing. I just ate a banana and was laughing.
While watching
who
the
knows,
video.
man?
The timing,
Who
the
knows?
timing of it was.
It's perfect. What you mean? Just like me, baby.
So does this mean that you actually want to fight, Keyshawn? Because you're giving them celebrity by doing this, by making a video. You're giving them attention. You're
What
giving
you talking about?
your audience is realizing that you're interested in him.
What they talking
Okay,
about?
let's just stop that right there. One, they're not even the same weight division. They're not going to fight. In my opinion, this is Top Rank trying to get some more eyeballs and some more ink, more publicity on two of their budding superstars, Teofimo Lopez and Keyshawn Davis. Now, I don't know whose brainchild this was. Big James, maybe you can shed some light on what really transpired here. What are your thoughts?
In reference to what really transpired, I can't necessarily confirm one thing on one front. The thing that I did follow up with, and this was, when it happened at the press conference, when it was brought up at the press conference, was I followed up with Dennis Baranchik there, and I talked with him, and his interpreter is Igor Nesterov, and they completely denied all of that in reference to what went down, particularly because, well, on one front, the thing with Dennis Baranchik is he don't speak English, so he can't really send a note and write something in English if he can't speak English. Okay, so that's one. Two, the thing with Teofimo Lopez is, yes, he is a buffoon. Okay, and if there was like any inkling that he did that, then that was absolutely asinine. But to your point, just real quick. With these two fighters in the separate divisions, even though they've been going back and forth for about a year and a half, they haven't necessarily did much of nothing to try to make that fight happen. That's number one. And number two, going from that clip on Nestor's page for Top Rank to give, for Teofimo to say that Top Rank gave him $5 million to do that, I don't buy that, given that what Teofimo Lopez and Top Rank have been going back and forth with each other for years. So for him to say that, yeah, I don't buy that, so to speak. But
yeah, no one believes that for a second. Come on,
yeah. And now, but to your theory in reference to Top Rank, potentially, setting something like that. I don't know about all that, but there might be somebody within the camp of Top Rank that could have, had some dealings with it.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
And if that's the case, Top Rank might have to call this particular person that was supposed to be a matchmaker, and actually, I'm glad that he's not. They might have to call him into question.
Yep. And that's going to be that, guys. That's the amount of time that we're going to spend on this. But because once again, they tried to get the liberal media in New York interested in covering this event. How many members of the mainstream media were actually there at the weigh-in or at the post-fight presser last night, Big James?
Yeah, as far as mainstream media, shoot, I have no idea, no clue, have no.
Exactly. Didn't work. Didn't work, guys. No one cares. No one cares about this stuff. It might work for Jake Paul, but it's not going to work for Keyshawn Davis or Teofimo Lopez. No one cares about this crap. And honestly, guys, no one cares about woke cancel culture any longer. It's deader than dead, guys. The only ones who are still under the ether are the lovesick liberals. And that's the only political jibe or jab that we will take on this show at this time. But let's get back to the main event of the evening. Keyshawn Davis looked razor sharp. Bomac once again comes up with the winning game plan to attack that body, limiting the movement of a very wily and crafty Dennis Baranchik, a.k.a. Phil Collins, against the odds. Yes, Keyshawn Davis does it. Capturing his first world title. Tell us, Did you think it was going to be that quick?
Phil Collins.
Dennis Branchik, little Phil Collins.
um, Actually, no. I thought it was going to be within round 6 to 8, but I did think it was going to be a stoppage. But being there live and doing the photography thing, and in round 2, or pretty much seeing it in round 2, because Keyshawn Davis was looking at Terrence Crawford and saying, "Nope, he ain't got nothing. He ain't got nothing." And then after that, that's when you seen him, do what he did in round 3, which was kind of interesting because for that first knockdown, he stepped on the inside of Dennis Berinchik with his foot and threw the left hook. Because usually, if you have an orthodox versus a southpaw fighter, you would try to get your lead foot on the outside of your opponent. But Keyshawn, just stepped on the inside before throwing the left hook to send Berinchik to the canvas. So I thought that was interesting there. But yeah, he was, faster, bigger, and there was nothing really that Berinchik had that could really phase Keyshawn Davis in that fight.
Indeed, indeed. I tell you what. So this makes 2 very good fighters in Gustavo Lemos, a fat, out of shape Gustavo Lemos, but a tough fighter nonetheless, who took Richardson Hitchens to the brink, dispatches him, makes easy work of him. And then here we are, a crafty guy who won the title by defeating Emmanuel Navarrete, El Vaquero, making easy work of little Phil Collins, the lonely man in the corner, against all odds. It was in the air tonight. Can I just say more of those terrible puns? But look. From what you saw and what you heard from Bo-Mac and Keyshawn Davis, is there anyone who's going to pose a threat?
I guess it wasn't another day in paradise for Dennis Berinchik last night there. But as far as like within top rank for Keyshawn Davis, no, I don't see that. I did mention a thing there with Lomachenko. They don't know what's going to be going on with Lomachenko. So you might see Raymond Murataya be not just the IBF interim champion, but the full champion there. And then they'll attempt to have a unification between those 2 fighters, as that has been a fight that I've been calling for within Top Rank. And then after that, then they'll entertain the idea of Keyshawn versus Tank. And to be honest with y'all, I would be more interested in a fight between those 2 than a fight between Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. Actually, last year kind of like had me buy more into Keyshawn Davis than Shakur Nafi Saeed Stevenson.
And how do you think that fight plays out, if it does?
Tank versus Keyshawn? Oh, that would be a great tactical battle. And you would see the best of both fighters. But folks will see, as Coach Calvin Ford said, folks will see the best of Tank in that instance, and he will catch Keyshawn, and he will be able to stop Keyshawn.
Indeed. I tell you what, honestly, I don't think Tank Davis, because of all these resume retards, forgive me guys for using that term, but for all those resume retards, I said it again. Yeah, Tank Davis doesn't get the appropriate. And once again, I always lean on what Emmanuel Stewart taught me. Joseph, resumes, records, and trinkets are for fans, writers, and network executives who don't quite understand what they're looking at in the ring just yet. But your eyes don't deceive you, JR. Tank Davis is the marauder of 135, but so is Keyshawn Davis. That's the fight. I don't care what anyone says about Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis. I don't care. Let him take care of everybody else. I want to see that fight, because that fight is going to be a brutal tactical chess match. And I know at the elite level, we usually don't see knockouts like that. Hence, Bivol Beterbiev is a great example of that. Also, Lucas Mathisev versus Danny Garcia back yonder. But guys, this one, in my opinion, would undoubtedly end in a KO. And honestly, at this point in the career, I think you have to favor Tank 60-40 just because of all of that championship experience he has. And he is a cerebral assassin. JR, is there anything Tank Davis can't do in the ring?
I can't really think of something that he can't do. Out there, you can't.
We saw him take the lead proficiently against Frank Martin, something that we never see from him. Something that obviously the guy who just lost to I can't even remember his name. He's so boring. Obviously, the guy who just lost to Barbosa this afternoon. Obviously, he can't do it. But Tank, he can do it all. Pick your poison. How do you want to get your ass whooped?
Jack Cattrall.
Yeah, Jack Cattrall. Yeah, Jack Boring. In the immortal words of Evander Holyfield. Yeah, when he lost to Lennox Lewis, he beat me with boredom. I think he put the judges to sleep with that performance. I'll never forget it. And guys, I already knew what was going to happen in this thing. That's why I didn't spend 1 minute watching this fight this afternoon.
Oh,
but guys, that's it, guys. So let's move on. Xander Zayas. When are we going to see him take the next step to a higher level? Because I have to tell you, brother, I am tired of seeing him fight no-hopers at 54. What say you, my friend? I know this guy was undefeated, but come on.
It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Like going into the fight, right? Just trying to look up something here real quick. Going into the fight there, when I was in photo row, my guy next to me there, the fight photos, he was pretty much saying like, the fight is gonna go 10 rounds or whatever it was. And I was like, I thought it was gonna be pretty much similar to when Zayas fought Patrick Teixeira. I thought it was gonna be similar to that. And I'm like, there was like all signs leading to that basically happening. Like we were like, pack it in, it's gonna go 10. And then all of a sudden Zayas goes to the body and puts him down to the canvas, and eventually he gets to stoppage over Slava Spomer there. So that was kind of surprising to me. But as far as like him, going for a world title, like I don't see any path of him doing that. But outside of maybe if the WBO be in doing the interim thing again, when Crawford moves up to fight Canelo, then they'll have Zayas versus one of these guys for the WBO interim title. But outside of that, I don't see a path for him to get the win.
No, and then you look at the path of progress, and this is Brad Goodman being the very best in this business at matching fighters at their appropriate levels and appropriate styles on their path of progress, nurturing and cultivating the biggest stars and the best fighters. And we see, in comparison, Vito Mielnicki Jr. being stuck in tough in his first fight at 160 pounds. A very motivated Connor Coyle wanted to pull off the upset in front of the Irish faithful there in New York. And I tell you what, that was a great fight. But you look at the difference in levels. That speaks volumes on their confidence in the kid as well as their confidence in Xander Zayas.
Hold on. Oh, hey, that reminds me. I gotta hit up Brad. Let's see if I can talk with him later next week.
Brad is boy, I tell you what, he's got that a-hole about him, doesn't he?
He got what?
He's got that a-hole about him, that a-hole personality kind of.
Not necessarily. He's a
great guy. He's a great guy, but let's just face it. Most guys in this business adopt that ideology and mentality, especially the matchmakers. They have the most thankless position in boxing because if they do their job right, they don't get any credit. It's always the trainer and the fighter. And if they don't do their job right and it goes terribly wrong on fight night, then they get all of the blame.
Yeah.
So with that said, soft touch for Xander Zayas, hard assignment for Vito Mielnicki Jr. What are your thoughts on his showing? And do you want to see another one of those, brother? This time
Yes.
as a main eventer.
Yes. That, I mean, of course, we talk with Coach Ronnie Shields and, of course, his guy there, Vito Mielnicki Jr., and we follow Vito Mielnicki Jr. here, particularly over the past, it's been almost a year or so, right? And going from last year when he had the fight in May, and then after that, we've seen that he, wanted to get into 160 pounds. And at the time last year that it was getting, to be some real work to try to get down to 154. So him having his first fight at 160 was, going to be something good for him. And in those first few rounds, you definitely saw that, he was, very fluent. He was very, consistent with his offense. He was tagging Connor Coyle with some good punches in there. And it looked like it was going to be a really good matchup there for those first few rounds. I think that Connor Coyle's experience level in the middleweight division kind of got to Vito there a little bit, particularly in the fourth round. He started to, push the action there, was, on his front foot leading, and once he did that and had Vito Mielnicki on his back foot, that's when you've seen Mielnicki's offense kind of taper down a little bit, right? So made for a very good fight. Connor Coyle landed some good uppercuts in that fight, some good hooks, and with Mielnicki landing some real good shots in there, and he had a number of great moments, great rounds in that particular fight, and it just was a very close fight. Immediately after the fight was done, I thought it was 6 rounds to 4 live scoring for me there for Vito Mielnicki Jr. And then it got to the point where they're about to announce the judges' scorecards, and you have Carl Moretti there in the ring. And for those that don't know, Carl Moretti there for Top Rank. When he's in the ring, there's times when Carl Moretti already has an idea of what the scorecards are. So right before Mark Chinook announced the scorecards, he went over to Vito Mielnicki Jr. and he said something to Vito Mielnicki Jr. and Vito was very upset. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, I knew there was something up. When they announced the scores, there it was, majority draw. And like I said, one judge had it 6 rounds to 4 for Mielnicki, and man, but it was that close though. It was that close, and it was a great matchup. Talking about Brad Goodman, that was a great matchup that he put together.
Yep. And notice you're not going to see Xander Zayas in any of those kinds of fights, not for at least another year or so.
Ooh.
That's the confidence they have in both guys. That's the difference, guys. And once again, they have faith in their ticket seller that they can nurture and cultivate is bring out and add those new wrinkles to his fight game. And well, let's just hope that that he does. There's a lot to like about that kid, but he has to start. We have to start seeing some improvement. We have to start seeing him add those new levels, right? Add those new wrinkles.
I just saw something.
Let's hear it.
Okay. Vito Mielnicki Jr. had that bout with Connor Coyle, and it was just so frustrating in there for him that he didn't get that decision, right? Now you had Connor Coyle there that was entered in at number 3 in the WBA rankings at the time, right? But Top Rank has another fighter that is in the boxing rankings.
Who's that?
The middleweight division.
You talking about Janabek? He's the champ.
No, not the champion. No.
Who?
But this has to be down the line after he has his fight. Troy Isley.
Ooh, Troy Isley. In my opinion, boy, that's a great fight already. That's a great matchup there, brother. Dude, that's a great job of matchmaking, JR.
I mean, he was there. He was there at the fight.
Of course. That's a great matchup. And we'll see. Once again, that's Look, Janabek, his days are numbered at 160. I don't know how much longer he can continue to make weight.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, and they're going to try to keep him. He's going to try to stay as long as he can, because let's just face it. Does he stand a chance against, well, you could say that the 168-pound division is wide open, but he's not he wouldn't be considered not by any stretch of the imagination, as a physically imposing super middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
So how much longer do you think they can keep him at 160?
You got that upcoming bout against Ngama Singu. And then after that, man, I have no idea, man. I have no idea.
Yep. Okay, so Jesus says, yep, Isley beats Vito. I don't know about that. I genuinely don't know about that. We'll have to see. Alberto says Vito's defense needs some improvement, but hell of a fight. Yeah. Look, I think there are times, and I'll tell you what really stood out to me, and I always get flashbacks of Emmanuel Stewart, right? In the inside, whenever a fighter tries to wrap you up, it's like, you don't give him anything to hold on. This is what makes Usyk so proficient in the pocket. He will keep working and tuck his elbows in and chop you down to the body and head when you try to wrap him up. And so you have to pull back, and you have to either that, or you have to work on the inside and keep working with him. That's something that Vito needs to add, because all too often he would, if he would cut off that escape route for Connor Coyle, then Connor Coyle would merely try to wrap him up after throwing a combination on the inside, and Vito would allow it. He needs to work on that also. One thing that Connor Coyle was doing that Vito wasn't, he was doubling and tripling up the jab while pivoting off his back foot. It was very effective, and it looked very, very good and very attractive to the judges at ringside. And that's something that Vito needs to do as well. He has to remember that his lead hand is not only the most important punch in boxing that sets up the entire arsenal, but it's your first line of defense. If he starts doubling and tripling up that jab, it's a much easier fight. Those two things, if he just sharpens those two things, he is a force at 160 pounds.
Yeah.
Your thoughts,
that's what he was doing there at the beginning of the fight, was working that jab and, very forceful with the jab, but, not doubling up, with that and thing. So I thought that would have been a great start for him. And, eventually, what was it? I would say around round 5 or 6 or something. You had the instance where it was the left side, pretty much on the left eye of Connor Coyle. That was where he had the cut. So I was thinking, let's see if, Vito could capitalize on that, work on that, try to set up shots. And, that was the other thing. I didn't see him do too many feints. He was doing some, but not too many feints to try to have, Connor Coyle think there in the back half of the fight. So to try to, bait him and then land the right hook, sometimes he just, threw the right hook. So, once he gets more familiar with, trying to get that stuff down, then you're really going to see more elements of Vito Mielnicki's game that's going to make him a real serious fighter there in the middleweight division.
Indeed. I tell you what, let's move on. We're running out of time with Big JR. Oh, boy. Do I really have to talk about this, brother? Jared Big Baby Anderson, he makes his comeback. But to say that it was less than scintillating is an understatement. That was downright pitiful, brother, against Marios Kolias from Greece. And you sent me this interview where Roy Jones is stating that he's running from his destiny, that he is already mentally checked out. And look, JR, I have to say, I'm in full agreement with the living legend.
Well, no, it wasn't Roy Jones. It was someone there that was, talking about Jared Anderson and.
Oh, I was just reading it. I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing, but
But
Yeah, honestly,
my God there was on point with that.
yeah,
And the week of the week leading into the fight, you could see some of the mannerisms of him, but Jared Anderson is kind of like been that type of guy regardless. As far as like not very forthcoming, being in this era of media and how people try to, as I say, story chase. But when people try to get interviews of fighters, promoters, that type of thing, a lot of people don't necessarily, go towards Jared Anderson because he's not very welcoming in, doing interviews like that. So, and then you see what it was when he was there at the weigh-in, just stepping on the scale, walking up 2 steps and then walking back out, and things like that. And he's like, yeah, hello to what's the name out there for a top rank? I mean, I forgot already. But outside of that, he really didn't have the mannerisms. I was, there live, so I couldn't necessarily hear, what he was talking about, while he was at the corner. I have absolutely zero clue who that trainer is. I didn't get the name. Still up to this point, didn't get the name of it. But what I'll tell y'all is on Wednesday, after I had the midweek report, I did speak with his first trainer, Derry Riley. And at that time, he confirmed to me that Jared made the decision to not have the services of Derry Riley anymore.
wow.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know if that is a decision by Mr. Antonio Leonard and Mr. James Prince, but that whole thing there is like, I don't know. And one person that is my mentor, as far as like OG as they say, he said that he looks like Jared is going to be in a downward spiral and that he may end up being a club fighter. And I wouldn't be surprised about that because what we had the news during that telecast that you're going to have a heavyweight fight scheduled for April 5th with Richard Torres Jr. versus Guido Vianello, right? That is one of those fights that you would have thought that Jared Anderson would be in within Top Rank, but no, I think that decision going over to fight at Riyadh season last August pretty much tipped off the people at Top Rank. That's why you didn't see this fight against Mario Scalias.
Yep, and look, we've seen this a million times at Top Rank. They don't play. Just like you can't play boxing, you don't play with Top Rank either. Mm-hmm. And you know what? His decision to throw their advice in the hot garbage and take on Martin Baculli against the wishes of the very wise and experienced people at Top Rank. Yeah, I can tell that's rubbed them the wrong way. And honestly, with this kind of showing, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if he got sacked and ended up fighting the club scene like Charles Martin.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's it. And like, honestly, I really don't want to spend any more time on this because I really like Jared. But they can't be happy, brother.
Nope.
And so without actually saying so, that was probably the sentiment there last night among the Top Rank brass, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I just got a respond text from Mr. Goodman, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? I might not want to, try to hint at that, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll have something.
Well, look, brother, I've had so many fighters. I've worked with so many fighters that have worked with Top Rank. Yeah, they don't play.
Yeah.
Look, and if your head's not in the game, they have no use for you. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
If your head's not in the game, they have no use for you. Once again, thanks for playing, Jared. And that just goes to show you guys that this game is, Emmanuel Stewart is right on the money. 90% mental. If your head's not in the game, then you shouldn't be boxing because once again, guys, you cannot play boxing. And Jesus M says this. Oh, first of all, let's say hello to our dear friend, Miss Denise Wards. God bless you, sister. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you, and I hope you and your family are doing well. God bless you. And Jesus says, Joe, Jared Anderson couldn't turn down that payday. Okay, well, he ruined his chances of making an even bigger payday.
You mean James Prince couldn't turn down that payday?
Oh, there it is, guys. There it is. That's the business of it. But look, against the wishes of the very experienced and wise people of Top Rank, what happened to Teofimo Lopez's career when he went against the wishes and the advice of the very wise and experienced people at Top Rank? He paid for it dearly, fought on his own, and lost his world title. And George Kambosos Jr. ended up becoming probably the worst undisputed champion of any division since Buster Douglas.
No, I don't call him the undisputed champion, but that's a whole story.
Tomato. Look, and Iceman, hey, my brother in Christ, good to see you, my friend. And I hope you can join us tomorrow for our Sunday sermon on God's perfect love. Hope to see you there, my friend. It's going to be once again at 3 p.m. We are going to be featuring my brother Jacob as well, my brother in Christ, Jacob DeLeon, who is currently working at Fight Card. He is one of the best videographers in the business. He's going to be with me tomorrow on God's perfect love. And so please, and once again, we always are going to schedule our sermons at 3 p.m. Central.
Hold on there.
Sins, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world and has mercy on all of us. Thank you, Heavenly Father. And so he goes, Jesus says, payday like that don't come around often. Well, I tell you what, it's not going to come around ever again because he chose to take that.
Yeah, go back to that last comment that you put up from him.
Oh, yes, sir.
No, or the thing there.
Oh, this one, Iceman.
Yeah. Oh, Iceman. Yeah.
Come on.
Iceman, you may have come in later, but I pretty much announced that you're gonna have Richard Torres Jr. versus Guido Vianello for April 5th. I think it's going to be what I had it at the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas. So they're gonna have that fight particularly set up. And the thing with Jared Anderson is, we talked about the whole thing with him in Top Rank because there's multiple fighters within the heavyweight division that Top Rank has that they could match up Jared Anderson with, but they haven't necessarily done that before the thing there with Martin McCauley. And like I said, that Martin McCauley was a James Prince and Antonio Leonard decision. So now they're gonna be like, okay, you wanna go behind my back and get this fight?
No. Look, Jesus. This is not that's not the case.
No, that's not the case.
No, he didn't even come close to taking home.
Not even close to that. Yep. 1 million. That's pretty much it. 1 million.
That's all he got. And once again, guys, the only fighters on these cards who get pampered are usually the main eventers. And I know this to be true from our good friend Thomas Driver, the purses on the undercard are they fight for near market value. I mean, there are exceptions, but most guys on the undercards of these Riyadh season events, they fight for market value.
Oh, real quick, if you know.
Unless your name is Shakur Stevenson.
Real quick, if you know, that heavyweight fight between Andy Ruiz Jr. and Jarrell Miller, what did they get?
Jarrell Miller?
Andy Ruiz and Jarrell Miller.
Yeah, like it wasn't outrageous. They like a combined purse was maybe $3 million.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But and they couldn't afford to pay anyone. And once again, I don't mean Saudi Arabia can't afford to shell it, but they weren't willing to. All of the money was to Terrence Crawford on that event. Terrence Crawford and Eminem.
Yep.
That's where all the money went. Like Israel Madrimov, he made his market value, maybe $2 million, maybe as the champ. Okay, but Terrence Crawford got paid in excess of $17 million, and they still lost money on that event. After all was said and done, I think Turki Al-Sheikh lost a little over $15 million.
Yeah,
on that card.
Yeah, because it was the shade under $8 million.
Huh?
I think the gate was a shade under $8 million.
And that's being nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, guys, that's why they stage these events. Like, and everyone's talking about, oh, Crawford Canelo, it should go to Allegiant State. No, because then you're looking at a gate between 8 and 10 compared to a site fee of $20 million from the MGM. Guys, make no mistake about it. That fight's going to be at the T-Mobile Arena if it happens in the U.S.
Arena. Come on, it has to be.
Guys, they can't, because all of the money that they make on the gaming tables, they are willing to pay out that amount, and no one can compete with that in the American market. That's why these fights take place, the big ones, in casinos.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, guys. And so, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, that's it, brother. Oh, hold on. Oh my gosh, Sid, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you, my brother. Ah, I tell you what, for the Lord, right there. And he says he is worse than Frank Bruno ever was. Oh, Jared Anderson, worse than Frank Bruno. Well, I will say this: Frank Bruno, you could never discount the kind of heart and mental toughness he had. Yeah, that guy was down to fight anyone. And even if he got KTFO'd, boy, you saw his heart spill out onto the canvas. So, yeah, he is, in that sense, he is much worse than Frank Bruno mentally.
Frank Bruno wouldn't say that he's
Jared
only 23.
Huh?
Frank Bruno wouldn't say that he's only 23.
Yeah. There it is. But look. Also, brother, I need to get your thoughts very quickly before we say goodnight to everyone. And we rejoin everyone after the fights tonight. But I do have to get your thoughts. Abdullah Mason, come on. Dude, can anyone beat this guy in his weight division?
Where
is Abdullah Mason campaigning right now?
135 pounds.
Oh, Chingao. Well, yeah, they want to take his time with Abdullah. Then for some reason, I was thinking he was at 30. My apologies.
No, he's at 135.
Okay.
He has just entered the ranking.
Take your time with him. Turn him into a ticket seller. Cultivate his level of attraction, and just keep him in his. Just keep him busy. Keep him busy. Put him in front of as many crowds as you can.
Yeah, they got him at number 13 in the WBO and number 10. They had him around number 10 or something like that, somewhere. So
very good. And I tell you what, we're moving on, Big JR. We're moving on, brother. And do we even have to mention Nico Ali Walsh, guys? The experiment gone wrong.
Not a ticket seller. So
there it is. I tell you what, and now that they're getting the pink slip from ESPN and Disney, yeah, they have no need for him, really. Juanma Lopez de Jesus, the son of the legend, has an emphatic, ugly, scary knockout in the first. I'm really going to be interested in seeing this kid's career. If he's anything like his dad, buckle up, guys, because his dad had sledgehammers for fists. Yeah, I'll tell you what, damn that Orlando Salido, depriving us and Bob Arum of the fight that we all wanted to see. But how did his son, were you impressed with Juan Ma Jr.?
Yeah, it was the first round. I was, just starting out, getting ready to take photos and, clicking and clicking.
Yeah.
And, I had one of these things and I don't know, I guess I was looking at the preview and then all of a sudden, boom, and I'm like, what? I was like, oh, whoa, what? Yo. He took him out.
Well, I tell you what. So you didn't even get to see anything, huh? Well, I tell you what, guys, we're look, I'll be honest. This is one thing that really pisses me off about boxing. This is the only thing I'm going to say, because we've already kept you on 20 minutes longer than we intended, JR. And I want to thank you for being here, my friend. But I will say this, guys. One thing I cannot stand about this business. I worked on brokering a deal for my boy Kendo Castañeda that I used to work with. And I've known him since the amateurs. I love his family, love his mom, love his brothers. They're all warriors. But I worked in getting him this deal with Kenneth Sims Jr. for over a month. He turned it down to fight Elvis Rodriguez, got his ass whooped on ESPN. Now what happens? He's fighting Kenneth Sims Jr. now tonight. And he completely just took the fight. I had no idea, didn't get any notice from Golden Boy. Yeah. So I worked on this deal last year for over a month. And what happens? He ends up taking the fight anyway. Yeah. So I'm a little pissed off about that. But hey, thanks be to God. And I'm still going to enjoy the fights. And I'll still be rooting for my boy Kendo. But you know what? That's, James, isn't that the business in a nutshell?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Man, because come on, folks, what are we doing? I mean, that almost is similar to the other story that you told me about with Keyshawn James, but that's
oh boy, yep. And I tell you what, now he's without a fight.
Yeah,
he's without a fight now.
Like, and I'm sorry, y'all, but I don't believe that it's going to happen March 22nd. So I don't know why they're trying to why they are.
No, I don't know why they're wasting their time.
No.
Well, this is why they're wasting their time. This is why they're wasting their time, because Golden Boy is no longer interested. Yeah. Because, dude, you don't mess around like that. People don't want to continue to deal with idiots like that. No one in this business does. And I'm going to tell you right now, then yeah, this is the kind of treatment you're getting. Can you hear?
Oh, you're going off and on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, look, let's just wrap it up now then. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
So this is a lesson to everyone, right? This is a lesson to everyone. Listen to the very experienced people who have been in this business for decades and who have your best interests at heart. And don't listen to the idiots in your posse who wouldn't know a fish hook from a left hook. Because the whole reason why Kendo went to Elvis Rodriguez first is because, wow, I've got the opportunity to fight Elvis Rodriguez, and he lost to Kenneth Sims Jr. I'll beat him. Styles make fights, young Padawan. You idiot.
Oh, man.
And I tell you what, if he wins this fight, I'll be happy and I'll be pissed off at the same time. But expect a great fight, guys. All the fights are going to be great. In fact, in the main event, boy, that's a great fight, man. Duarte versus W.A.W. That very well could play out to be a fight of the year candidate. And I tell you what, guys, enjoy all the fights. Your parting shots for our friends and family in the chat, my friend.
Man, just enjoy the fights here tonight, and just check out the boxingsource.net and the Boxing Source YouTube channel. And once again, big props for Brother Joseph for having me on here for this conversation.
I tell you what, brother, it's always a joy, man, to share the air with you, my friend. And guys, on behalf of Big J.R. Bell from the Boxing Source, and guys, please bookmark boxingsource.net for all the latest news, gossip, and all that good stuff. And I am Joseph Herron. You've been listening to World Week Boxing. Have a great evening, everybody.
Keyshawn Holdings proudly presents War Week Radio Chats with ring announcer Joseph Herron.